You're very welcome along to the weekend wrap on OTB AM. Nathan and Phil have joined us from various parts of around the world. Well, certainly you were jet setting.
Galway, London, never ends.
There you go. Phil, you were at least on your couch watching Michael Conlon.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I had to watch it yesterday morning.
Well, that's it.
So I was out on Saturday.
Perfectly legitimate.
Yeah, I watched the rerun at 10 a.m.
Was it one-sided? Was it straightforward?
One judge gave it to him by 10, the other by 9-1 and by 8-2. So I would have given 2 rounds to Nick Heaton, especially the fifth. He fought mainly in orthodox style, southpaw style, Conlon. And when he went into orthodox, he actually got caught with a few right hands. So he kind of got out of that.
Doing this? What's the point of it?
I mean, actually, Terence Crawford was the main event. He's one of the best switch hitters around. It's something Conlon did when he was an amateur. And I mean, I know we'll talk about Andy Lee in a bit. Like, Andy fought as a southpaw, but he's right-handed. So, you know, it's no harm in being able to switch, but he certainly looked better against Nick Heaton as a southpaw. So he can tailor this for whoever he's fighting. The
footage, the video of Andy's world title victory against Karabov was doing the rounds on YouTube because I think it was the 8th anniversary. Was that what it was? Yeah,
it was 2014. So
fifth anniversary. Yeah. Stunning finish to that fight. You should all dig it out. The other big news from the weekend is the Mayo County Board have a new county board chairman, and maybe peace will break out between millionaire benefactor and Mayo County Board.
You'd expect so. So Lee Moffat is in. This is obviously dragged on for several months. It should be pointed out that this convention was always going to happen, that Mike Kennelly's term as county board chairman was always coming to an end. But it was sort of seen that there was the old guard and there was the new guard, and Lee Moffat was very much the new guard, and that...
Is he connected to Tim O'Leary in any way?
Not really, though. I think Tim O'Leary was very much a supporter of Lee Moffat and felt that if Moffat comes in, that Moffat would be the easiest one to act as peacemaker, that there was no sort of legacy issues from the previous board. Now, Lee Moffat obviously has to go and do that. There's a lot of money on the table for Mayo over the next few years, which, having looked at what Dublin released on Thursday night in terms of, was it a 50% increase in commercial revenue in the space of a year? 1.6 million to 2.3 million. That any extra money Mayo can get is necessary. Moffat's, talk about grounded in Mayo football. He won a Club All-Ireland with Crossmolina. He has been Mayo team physio. He has been the head of coaching in the county.
Right, that sounds great.
So he's been very much involved in all sorts of levels. He's been part of the backroom staff with the senior county side. He's a physio, has physio practice in Mayo.
Right.
So smart guy who I think knows top to bottom what Mayo football is about.
So I don't know what the vote was, close in the end, but certainly O'Leary over the weekend had one last kind of, I'm reluctant to make this public, but I'm taking my legal action further. Then the election happens and it looks like the threat of the legal action has abated somewhat.
That certainly seems to be the case from the outside. I would expect that they still want to see some proof of where the money went. But there's 250 grand sitting in a bank account belonging to the Mayo Foundation after the fundraiser in New York, that once they're given the proper plans and procedures of what's going to happen with it, is going to be released.
So he issued a statement in the aftermath on his Twitter account yesterday saying, today was a good day for Mayo GAA, but the hard work begins now, thank you. So it's a long statement, which we won't read out the full thing. You can check it out on Twitter as well. At Newport Mayo 1951 is the...
Ticks all the boxes, that handle.
Yeah. So are you happy as a Mayo GAA supporter that this has been put to bed and we can start talking about the football on the field and the long continuing hunt for...
This has been the greatest distraction of all time. Everyone will be happy, I think, presuming that's it done, and actually all these potential funds, and Tim O'Leary has been talking about tapping into that diaspora and the foundation and potentially raising up on, £1 million a year through that. If that comes and senior team get everything they need, brilliant, because that's what Mayo do need, because they're going to fall behind very quickly, but they also need a academy,
more coaches,
they need more coaches, they need all of that. So I don't think it's going to be a quick fix, but presumably this means at least it dies down for the next few months.
Okay, well, we'll come back to that because, it is the never-ending story. Let's talk a little bit about Tyson Fury, who announced the weekend that he's got a new coach.
Yeah, this is a big surprise, given that 2 months out from the rematch with Deontay Wilder, and Ben Davison, who was his trainer, announced it on social media yesterday that they've parted company, still friends, but just gone their separate ways. And then last night, Tyson Fury
changes a lot, doesn't he?
He does, but like obviously Peter Fury, his uncle, was the trainer when he beat Klitschko.
Right.
And brilliant trainer. And then that relationship broke down. Obviously, Tyson Fury had his struggles outside the ring. Ben Davison and personal training would be something that Ben Davison is quite strong on, and he helped him kind of lose nearly 10 stone. And I think with Tyson Fury, you can tell from watching him, and he said it himself, that he knows everything about boxing. He doesn't need that much coaching, is what he said. But when he fought Wilder the first time, Freddie Roach was part of the team, and he was critical of Ben Davison that night because he thought that they were just...
He's part of the commentary team.
No, he was in the corner.
In the corner.
Ricky Hatton, Ben Davison and Freddie Roach.
We're in Tyson Fury's corner.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And Freddie Roach is critical of the other...
He was on a US talk show or a TV show a few days later, and he just said, you know what, I thought Fury could have finished Wilder if he had gone for it a bit more.
Right.
But
that's as calling somebody out as
yeah, and
you
that's
get.
why part of me was wondering when Ben Davison announced that he was no longer training. I was like, I wonder, is this being Freddie Roach is going to get it? But no, he's gone for Javon Sugarhill, a name that if off the ball listeners will know because Andy Lee has talked about this man. He is the nephew of the late Emmanuel Stewart, and Tyson Fury posted this picture there. That's 2010. This is before he was a heavyweight champion.
Some people are listening on OTB Sports Radio this morning, Phil. Tell us what we've got.
So you've got Javon Hill on the left. You've got Tyson Fury with a full head of hair. You've got Emmanuel Stewart and you've got Andy Lee, the four lads there in the Kronk Gym in Detroit. This is before Tyson Fury was really burst onto the scene.
And read the caption.
And he says...
getting the old team back up and running.
Yeah, so this is what he posted. So
at Kronk Sugarhill and at Body Puncher, hashtag Kronk Boys back in town. At Body Puncher is Andy Lee. Are we putting two and two together here and getting Andy Lee as part of the backroom team of Tyson Fury for the period where Tyson Fury becomes the dominant heavyweight in the world?
This is quite a kind of stable that Andy Lee is building, if that's the case, where, you know, he gets Paddy Donovan, you know, the upcoming prospect. Then he gets Jason Quigley, who... you know, a lot of people feel could be a world champion, suffers a defeat. Andy's thinking, you know, I've been there. And we had Jason Quigley in off the brawl last week, and he is excited for 2020. And he just said, even when you walk into a room now with Andy, the respect that everyone in boxing has for Andy, not just because he's one of the nicest guys ever, but because of what he did as a fighter. But to learn under Emmanuel Stewart, like you know when you're talking to Andy, you could talk to him for hours about boxing.
Yeah, you feel smarter coming away from it.
Yeah, like
He's hardly the nicest guy in the world when he's in the corner. Every photograph I see of him alongside Jason Quigley,
He looks pretty mean, doesn't
looks
he?
like he's about to kill someone.
He does, doesn't he?
I get nervous looking at
He's got that
He's
thing.
angry.
He's got that, the walk to the ring transforms him into the
even
killer
like
again.
he said to Jason, he said, look, we need to basically give you the killer instinct. So he changed the colour of his shorts. And if you looked at Jason Quigley's fight a couple of weeks ago, the way he finished the fight, it was like there was a bit of nastiness.
There was. He was chasing your man around the ring in stages.
Yeah,
like he's gone for the kill here.
So
Phil, good stuff. Thanks for that. That's a nice little bit of detective work for you this morning. Briefly before you go, Nathan, Arsenal 0, Man City 3. That was the game you did.
Yeah, it was so easy for Manchester City. I was listening to you earlier. I think Dave was dead right. Kevin De Bruyne will never have an easier game. Kenny touched on, he did play in a slightly different position.
Yeah, I think this is important though. Like,
could be a big change, actually.
But isn't it important? It doesn't matter who the opposition is. If you're a world-class player like De Bruyne is, you just need to get your mojo back. You need to get your confidence back. You need to feel like you are the man on a team, because he hasn't been the man on that team the way he should have been for the last 18 months. The injuries happened. The form was good for a while. The form disappeared. He was getting called out by John Giles on Thursday Night Football at the start of the season. He just hadn't done his business for a while. And now I think that he could start doing his business again, and suddenly you've got him, you've got Sterling, and then whoever else is actually playing isn't irrelevant because they're all great. But that's a team who you would really believe has a very strong chance of winning the Champions League.
Well, if De Bruyne goes on and is the best player in the Premier League and the best player in English football for the next 6 months, absolutely Manchester City will have a brilliant chance. I just wonder what their motivation levels are going to be like and whether they can get up for it week in, week out when they're 14, 17 points behind Liverpool.
Is Pep putting those stories out that you see in The Athletic about this being potentially the end of it, to see what there's a response from the players? Is there some level of motivation? Is there some level of trickery going on there?
There could be, but I do fear, like, Arsenal were a joke yesterday. And difficult criticising Guendouzi and Torreira because they're still quite young, particularly Guendouzi, but some of the play was so naive. That third goal, stepping out in front of De Bruyne like that, like, it's amateurish stuff. And who's coaching them defensively? Who's trying to improve these players? And that's the one. It's funny, you probably feel this. 5-6 years ago when we go to the Emirates, you'd always look forward to going there, even though Arsenal weren't at their peak, but they always played really good football. Ozil would run the show quite often. It'd always be really entertaining. It's one of the bottom of the list now in terms of grounds you'd want to go to because the atmosphere is crap. Arsenal have nothing. Like, they're a nothing side right now. There's no style, there's no substance, there's literally nothing to them.
So don't read anything into this.
Absolutely nothing.
I don't read anything into the fact that Kevin De Bruyne has shown us what a wonderful footballer he is.
Well, because he hadn't shown us that on us over a sustained period of time for a while.
His class is a permanent thing. The biggest problem for City is that every team looks like, apart from Arsenal, looks like they can score against them. And throw Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Real, Barca, Liverpool, all these clubs that they're potentially going to have to take on over the next few months in the Champions League, they know that they can get after Manchester City. They may concede against them, but City's biggest issue is the fact that they started yesterday with Fernandinho at centre-half alongside Otamendi.
I thought Fernandinho was brilliant, by the way. Yes, that was the only thing.
Against Arsenal.
It was like Franz Beckenbauer against Arsenal. Arsenal could have scored in the first 20 seconds is the other thing. Again, by just
totally
running
different game
straight at that.
They only got that goal.
Running straight through that Manchester City defence.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, good stuff, lads. Thanks for that. Good to have you back, Dave.
Yeah.
Nathan, always nice to see you in the morning.
Your last show, you and I are doing the last show before Christmas.
I mean, yeah, one of our last shows before Christmas.
I presume that'll be Tuesday morning.
Christmas Eve, exactly, yes, Dave.
Christmas Day. We're all coming in Christmas Day.